Hello everyone, and thank you very much for watching. This is me, Mr. P, and welcome back to another episode of Proxmox Home Server series. In one of the videos I was demonstrating how to virtualize true NAS and use that as your NAS. In another video I was showing you a setup process Open Media Vault. But what if either of these options are not good for you? What if you can't actually use them because your Proxmox runs on a machine which has a CPU that don't have virtualization feature? So LXC container is only one option for you to have a NAS. Don't worry, there is a way to have a NAS virtualized inside LXC container. And what we're going to use is called FileServer LXC container, created by very clever people behind the team called TurnKey Linux. And here we go. This is the one we're going to use. If actually I'm going to delete this, it should bring all the list of all the LXC containers that the clever people created. There is a LXC container for WordPress, for OwnCloud, for Jellyfin, for PHP, for MySQL. Did I mention WordPress? I probably did. It's a bunch, I think it's 100 plus LXC container templates created by them. And the one we're going to use is called FileServer. So let's go back inside PVE, my Proxmox. Next thing, what we need to do is get ourselves that LXC template downloaded. I'll click on the storage where I keep all the stuff. I click on a CT, I click on a templates, and if I scroll down, this is the list of all the turnkey containers I can use inside my Proxmox. I can have a media server, which is, like I said, Jellyfin, game server, gallery. There is a WordPress, there is Magento, there you go, WordPress here, Magento was here. A lot of things. If you cannot see the turnkey showing up in this list, you need to click on the Proxmox host, then shell, and type pveam space update. If you put that, press enter, you should see update successful. That means that the repository for templates has been updated, and now inside the template list you should be able to see turnkey. So if you search for FileServer, one word FileServer, just put enough letters to filter down. As you go, see, this is the one we're going to use. I won't download that because I already had that downloaded. And here it is, 17.1-1. So that's the one we're going to use. So let's start creating this, and then we're going to create ZFS pool. If I click on a create CT, give it a name. So I'm going to call it FileServer-YT. So FS space -YT. I want this container to be privileged because I won't be able to pass through. Well, with a privileged container, you still can pass through the data set from a Z pool, but it's going to be very complicated to set up the right permissions. Where if you're going to run this as a privileged container, the permissions will be sort of automatically sorted for you. And because like I said in my previous videos, I'm running this inside my home lab, no one else has access, so I'm pretty safe by doing that. Password, I'm going to give something simple like that. Click on a template, make sure that the right one is selected, and then I can look for this one here, or I can start typing the name and FileServer. If I type that correctly, would help, and select the right one. Disks 8 GB are plenty because, like I said, we're going to use ZFS Dateset, ZFS pool. So 8 gigs to run all the files to function, the file server to function is plenty, because the ZFS pool, it can be terabytes and terabytes of data. That's where the data will be stored. And the CPU one is plenty. Memory 512 is plenty for this. You can actually run this on 256. Network, I'm going to choose DHCP because I want to get IP address. DNS, I'll leave everything like this, and confirm, I'll leave everything like this. I will not click start after create, and press finish. So LXC container getting created, and before we start that, we need to do a couple of things. Number one, we need to enable nesting, and then without a nesting, I won't be able to run FileServer. As you can see, task is done. I'm going to close that, select the container, then select options, features, double click, and then choose nesting. Press that. So unprivileged container, no, that means it's privileged, and nesting is enabled equals 1. So that is done. Next thing, let's go and create ZFS pool. I'll click on my node of Proxmox node, scroll down and to find ZFS under disks options. If you can see, obviously you can press this to expand. And now I'm going to click create ZFS. This is 2 hard drives that I attached to this Proxmox. They're both 32 GB inside. I'm not sure why it's showing 34, 36. But anyway, we'll select both of them. Give this a name. I'm going to call it tank. I will untick add storage. From single drive, I will choose mirror. And then from compression, I will choose LZ4 and press create. So right now Proxmox creating a ZFS pool of 2 drive mirror ZFS pool. And if I double click on this, I can see everything is great, mirrored, everything online, everything is happy. So right now, back inside the Proxmox and the shell, if I type ZFS list, I should be able to see my pool by the name of tank, which is great. Now let's create a data set inside that pool. To create a data set, you need to write ZFS space create space name of the pool / name of the data set. In my case, I'm going to call it data. So you can call whatever you want. I'm going to call it data. And the data is going to be that master folder where I'm going to keep all the stuff. So now if I'm going to put ZFS list, I can see that it's 2 created, and one of them is called tank data. The pool always going to be the first one, and then all the data sets will follow down. So tank data is my data set. I need to pass through this data set into LXC container. To do that, I need to write nano etc /pve /lxc / an ID number of the LXC container. In my case, it's 100. In your case, just make sure you put the right ID number of the FileServer LXC container. Press enter. To do a mount point, we need to mend the LXC container configuration file. If I go just below net, I need to make a space and type exactly like this, mp0. That means I want to mount point to an index 0, a starting point 1. 0 if you already have a mount point for some reason, that needs to be always the 1 if 1 is not free, 2 if 2 is not free, 3 if 3 is not free, 4 and so on. In my case, because it's a fresh LXC container and nothing else been done to it, my mp0 will be available. I know that, so I'm going to use this. Then colon / tank / data. So next I'm going to put comma mp equals / mnt / data. So what all this means that I want to mount point to a location 1, well, first location, which is mp0, location inside the host, which is tank data. So pool ZFS pool tank, and then ZFS pool dataset data. And our mount point inside the LXC inside the location mnt / data. So we're just gonna link these 2 locations automatically somewhere, and it's gonna basically whatever you do inside the host inside this location will be reflected inside here, and vice versa. So that is done. I'm gonna press Ctrl O to write, enter to confirm, Ctrl X to close, and now I can start a container just by putting pct start and 100, or you can right click on this and start. I'm just gonna do pct start. So right now it's starting the container. Let's go back in here. Container is starting. Everything looks great. Come on, let's wait for a second for this to go through all this. Actually, it's here. Okay. So root and a password, the one I created. Oh, I buzzed up the password. I'm going to have to punch again. Here we go. So right now, this is the file server of TurnKey Linux teams created first initial setup process. So it says that please enter new password for Samba root account. So I'm going to put something that I can remember. So I'm going to do like this. It needs to be 8 characters and at least 3 of them following the category. So you just put something and it's it. Next one about API. I'm going to skip that. About the email stuff, I'm going to skip that and I will run this. This is a security patches upgrade. I'm going to run this. When this is done, the message will pop up asking you to restart the container. So you make sure that you restart the container. I'll meet you when all this is done. Patch is installed, the container updated and upgraded and restarted, so I can log in back in. Next thing, to get into the configuration window, you need to put conf console, one word, press enter. And here we go. This is where I can find the IP address that has been assigned to the system with the correct port number that I need to use to access webmin. So I'm going to select this, right click and choose copy. And now if I'm going to open a new tab, press enter, it's going to ask me about the SSL problem. I'm going to say that's fine, advanced, proceed. And it's going to ask me to log in. So default username going to be root, and the password will be not the password during the installation process inside these windows, but the one which you entered here while you were creating the CT container. So this is the one you need to enter and press sign in. And here we go. We're inside this webmin interface, Web GUI setup for all the stuff you want to basically configure with this LXC container. First thing I want to check if the mount point successfully happened. I'm going to click on Tools, then File Manager. And if I double click on MNT, if I see a folder data, that means it's automatically being created. And that means that the ZFS dataset has been successfully linked to this LXC container. So let's start setting up Samba. First thing, before setting up Samba, actually, we need to have a user. I'm going to click on the system, users and groups. I'm going to click on the add a new user, which is this button here, add a new user. I'm gonna give it, create my user for myself, Mr. P, and it automatically adds the user into users group, which is fine. I'm gonna scroll down, press create. So we have a user, Mr. P. That's great. Next thing, we need to go inside the tools, back inside the file manager, and make sure that this folder, which is automatically created once the ZFS dataset has been linked, it doesn't belong to root and the group root. It needs to belong to Mr. P and the group users. So I'm going to right click, choose properties, right click, and then on this arrow thing, and then choose which says change ownership. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say username, it belongs to not root, but actually me, and it belongs to group users. I'm still going to click recursive, even if there is no folders inside, but still I'm going to do, even if there is any hidden folders, just want to make sure that everything belongs to me. For me, everything belongs to me. Let's click change. So ownership has been changed to MRP, and as you can see, users, but this is right now set to 755. That means that user read and write, group only read, and everyone's only read. But what if tomorrow I'll add my friend, let's say Jeff, to access the same files? I want him to access the same. So instead of just changing ownership, I will add the Jeff into group users. That means I need to change the permission mode. So right click again on the arrow and then change permissions, and make sure that you press tick here. That means it's going to change to from 755 to 775. Apply to, select all recursive, change, and now this folder belongs to me, and everybody inside the group users can read and write as well. So I can add a bunch of stuff in here, a bunch of people to this list, and they all be able to access this. So that is done. Now let's click on the servers, and now click on the Samba Windows file sharing. By default, FileServer will create 3 folders here. As you can see, you can access storage, you can access CD-ROM if your Proxmox system for some reason has a CD-ROM, and it can has all home directories. I'm going to select all and click delete. We don't want any of that. I'm going to click create a new file share. Give it a name. I'm going to call it YouTube. Directory to share. I'm going to click on this icon and choose mount. Okay, I clicked too many times. Click on the mount and then click on the data. Double click on the data. Click select. So it's added this one in here. Create with permissions. I need to make sure that instead of 755 it says 775. You need to still do that even if you already done all the permissions, but you need to still do that because there's a Samba side permissions. We do it on a file browser kind of thing permission side. Now we need to do on this. I'm going to click create. As soon as you've done that, click on the name and then go into security and access control and make sure writable is clicked yes. And now you can say that and click save. And now once all this done, you need to scroll down and look for convert users. Select that, and now I need to find the user. Click on this and find myself. Where is Mr. P? It's probably somewhere here. So click Mr. P, click select. And what that does that once you create a Linux user, it has a username and a password. But if you want to access a Samba share, you need to have additional password because Windows reasons. Linux and Windows doesn't use the same kind of hashing password algorithm kind of thing, but anyway, just you need to create a separate password just for Samba. So I'm going to select Mr. P in this list, use this password, and I'm going to add something very simple. Obviously you add something more secure. I'm going to add just 123QWE. Convert the user, press that button, click on the arrow, and I'm back here. And once you have everything done, you have a folder. You made sure the folder is writable, you done all the permissions, you made sure the user is converted. Restart the Samba server, and the Samba server has been restarted, and means Samba is functioning. Now if I open the file browser, click on the applications and choose the IP address, which I think it was 86, press enter. Mr. P automatically filled in because my Pop OS on this laptop uses username Mr. P. So this is why it is, but if in case it's not, you just need to put Mr. P here and put the password, which you added as a new password just for Samba, and click connect. And here we go, my YouTube folder. If I'm going to double click in this and create a folder, let's say subscribe. And you go folder created inside. If I go back inside my Proxmox system, inside the Proxmox system, click on a Proxmox node, then on a shell, and in here if I put ZFS list, this is my datasets and my pool and dataset. Now if I'm going to navigate into the location tank data and do a list, the space dash all, here you go, subscribe showing up here, because all this setup is done with a privileged container. If I done all this setup with unprivileged container, I won't be able to see folders here, and the users won't be able to properly write and read stuff inside the sandbox. It's a mess. So instead of going the more secure way, I decided to go this easy way, because more secure way is like 1,000 extra steps I need to do. And I tried that actually, and it's not always worked for me. Actually, I not even managed to get that work successfully. So I went the easy way, which is just run a privileged container, make it sure this, and it all runs perfectly. So that's it. I'm using a file server to get my stuff, file server sharing, sandbox sharing done. And now as you can see, it uses only 26% of the memory out of 112. So 135 cached and 130 is used. So pretty much it's just very good on our resources. It's not tanking my Proxmox system. Let's see how we're doing here. So as you can see, it's 120 megabytes been using. I can even go here, resources, and from 2 to 512, I'm going to say no. You only have 256. And right now it uses less, just less than all the RAM. So 120 out of 256. Can't speak today. It was a long day. Anyway, so this is if your Proxmox CPU or if the machine that you have your Proxmox running do not support virtualization, you still can have a fully functioning Samba server running in it, and you're using ZFS to get all this going. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.